Okay. My name is Liesl Fressola, and 5 years ago, I was sitting at a meeting with my 4th grade team when a man walked into Sandy Hook School with an AR-15 and killed my friends, my colleagues, and 20 innocent children. I didn't know at the time what was happening. I knew the lockdown plan. We couldn't follow it. Our door didn't lock. Eventually, we ran. I looked back for other runners. Running wasn't part of the lockdown plan. But in an ugly twist of fate, I had discussed on multiple occasions with Vicky Soto, my best friend who died that day, how we would put our children out the window and tell them to run if needed. In the end, I was able to complete our plan, and she was not. The unbelievable pain and grief that followed that day has literally brought me to my knees at times. The best way I can think to describe it is I felt like I had a deep, dark, dirty secret, and everyone knew about it and was talking about it. I felt so vulnerable and raw. Even everyday things like teaching a lesson seemed unbearable at times. Making decisions was impossible. I was covered in rashes, lost tons of weight, and couldn't sleep for fear of nightmares. For months, I planned how I would react the next time I was in a shooting, replaying the event over and over again with different, better reactions next time. I made sure I knew the exits everywhere I went. I cried and cried and cried. I held my colleagues and students as they cried in fear that this might happen again. And then it did happen, again and again and again, all across our country. We continue to allow more and more people to become victims of gun violence. We need to end this now. Many things have changed for me since Sandy Hook. I've learned to live a new normal. I'm finally strong enough to recognize that I am not just a victim, but a survivor that is strong and confident. I've learned to feel safe again, and to enjoy life again, and to teach again. And yet I know that my tragedy is forever part of my life, and I will ride the waves of trauma and grief for the rest of my life. I would not be here today if it weren't for the strength of the students of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High. They have been an inspiration. They have been an inspiration to me and many fellow survivors. After Sandy Hook, I didn't feel that I had a voice. I did not feel that there was a way for me to honor my experience or those we lost in public. I was silenced. I was paralyzed by my experience. I was hiding from the opportunistic media and conspiracy theorists. The students from Parkland have shown us the way. They've shown us how to be empowered and strong in the face of tragedy. And while I know that their personal trauma is still strong, these students have not let it stop them from standing up. I am so proud and inspired by them. I can no longer hide in the shadows. Survivors' voices matter, and not just for ratings or scoring political points. People need to see the true effects of gun violence. I'm asking you today, all of us, survivors, students, teachers, citizens, corporations, politicians, to stand with the students in Parkland and call for real common sense solutions that put students' lives first. I'm asking for you to act for all victims of gun violence. It was time for change after Columbine. It was time for change after Sandy Hook. And it is most certainly time for change now. Our students and teachers deserve more than to carry the burden of their safety on their backs alone. Lockdown drills are not the answer. That's right. There are common sense solutions that the vast majority of Americans believe in. It is time we all use our power to act now. Thank you.